Nice to have you with me. Latest trends. And another person who's watching. It's good. It's good to have people watching sometimes when things work. So latest trend says delusional about TRVL. It's a dead coin. Hope you didn't invest too much. Oh my god. You know, I'm a big risk taker. I'm all or nothing. You either make it or you don't, you know. And if you don't, you just try again. That's just the way I think. So maybe one or two things don't work, and then eventually you find something that does work, and then you make it all back plus some. So I'm not stressed at all. You watched my video from last week, huh? You must have watched my video from last week. And I kind of give a lowdown on so many things last week. Let me pull the charts up. Do we look at TRVL first? Now, I think I should go to Bitcoin first. I always go to Bitcoin first, don't I? So probably best to have a look at Bitcoin first. I think that's the most important thing, because ultimately that's what determines everything. So welcome this Friday morning. It's running 22 minutes late. I was having some microphone issues. I'm going to have to cut that first bit out later on. I'm here in London. I'm still in London. It was my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Last Sunday it was my birthday. I'm a Sagittarius. Yes, I'm a fire sign. Lots of fire inside of me. So another day, another year older, another year wiser. People ask me, how old are you? I say infinity plus one. That's what I say. So Bitcoin is interesting. Last week I was quite bullish, just because we were able to kind of get back above this trend line. But I was talking about not longing here, and even though I was bullish, I was talking about not longing here. I think we needed to see a sign of strength, a continued sign of strength, and I was very adamant about what I wanted to see. When it comes to trading, if you don't see it, don't trade it. If you plan it, if you see it, trade it. But if you don't see it, then don't trade it. It's not part of the plan. And without kind of turning the volume on the previous week's stream, I was talking about this daily level. I was saying we need to reclaim that daily level. And I was seeing some bearish divergences and some shorts coming in, and you can't long when you're getting bearish divergences. You just can't. It's just bad move, because you're fighting bigger players, whales. And basically I was saying that this is what I was coming up with. Look, see that? And effectively the long would be to reclaim the daily level, or to lose this lower daily level for a downward move. That was what was on my mind last week. Pretty straightforward, huh? Because the price was compressing. When you get those kind of compressions, you get these big moves. So that was last Friday. And so I said, don't long here. We need a sign of strength, a continuation. Otherwise, you're in trouble. Then I kind of looked at the Wyckoff possibilities. I'm going to have a look at the Wyckoff again, because we may be in an accumulation schematic. Yeah. With accumulation schematics, you've got to keep on looking at them, because they kind of progress, and it takes time to kind of develop. We were showing strength, and so I'm bullish, because we can, and I gave reasons why I was bullish. I said that reclaiming that trend line was important. I said if it was really bearish, we would have bounced off that trend line and kept on going. So if the fully fledged bear market had begun, this steeper trend line would have kept pushing the price down. It hasn't really done that, and that tells you something about the price. Doesn't mean it can't go down. Just because you're bullish doesn't mean it's going up. Just because you're bearish doesn't mean it's going down. It just stops you from reacting too fast, waiting and looking for a good setup. And I did say that if we do lose that trend line again, it will drop very fast again. I'm not going to play the video, but I said if we go back underneath that trend line, we'll get another fast drop, because that's a real weakness. That was in my last week's video. I didn't give any trade ideas apart from this. Apart from that, a reclaim or a loss. That was it. That was my trade ideas I gave. It was really simple, and we were here. See that? This little kind of bunch of candles here. Let me go to the 1 hour time frame. I was thinking to myself, you sometimes with these moves you get a fake out and then a move. In this case, it didn't really fake out. It kind of took a previous high and went down, but it took the previous low first. Yeah, so it was like a double fake out. It's really tricky with these kinds of moves if you don't catch them. And if you see how it fell, it didn't give a back test, or maybe it did. Let me see. Let me see where we are. That's the 5 minute time frame. Maybe it did. No, it didn't. See that? There was no way to catch that. There was no meaningful back test. It was just volume coming in, bam, 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 and it was a hard one to see. You'd have to jump in. You'd either have to take that, trade the range, which is what that was in. It was in the range. And you'd either just trade the range and you get lucky on one side of the range, or yeah, there was no like bam. It was just bam. It was just straight down and continuation. So that's kind of how it went. That's kind of why I didn't give any kind of trade ideas, because it wasn't easy. Where was it? It was here. And you see how we're kind of playing with this trend line. We lost it. The pressure is on. Now what I'm thinking is this. So while I still have this crazy long lower down, which is a really good longer, it'd be a really good long to take out that pivot and long. The reality is that the fact that this trend line hasn't continued tells me something. Yeah. And so I'm just going to update my levels as well while I'm here. I think usually in some kind of bear market, or the beginning of a bear market, you get a fake reclaim, you lose it, get a nice back test, and bam, and you go down. Yeah. Put in a new low, and everyone is shorting, and we're just going lower. Okay, that's kind of what you expect when things are really bearish, but it's not happened. Yeah, it's not doing that. This trend line is now washed, and whereas before it was acting as resistance, you see that to there, it was resistance, another resistance point there. Now it's being ignored, and so that tells me that this trend line is no longer relevant, but also it tells me that this downward move is still not ready yet. It's not ready for a crazy downward move yet. So we just kind of ignore that now. We delete that, and we still have this kind of slightly outer trend line. Now, this is a really important one, because the price could quite easily go up and do that. Yeah, so we still have this kind of outer structure that needs to break, but the steep one getting washed just tells me that maybe it's not as bearish as everyone thinks, and maybe we are bottoming here. And I do feel that that's more likely the case at the moment. Okay, so let me just kind of have a look at these. That's all irrelevant. Let me delete that. I'm going to go to the volume as I always do. Have a look at the volume, update the volume, get rid of that trend line for a second. And if you're here, thanks for coming, thanks for joining me. I do these streams every Friday. I look at BTC, I kind of do a weekly update, try and predict the future, I guess, or just look at possible ideas. It's one of many ideas, and I think it's important that you realize that no one is right. Everyone has an opinion, and ultimately when you're trading, you have to trade according to your trade plan. You have to have good risk management, and you have to have a definite stop loss, and you have to have key definite take profits, and that's really the only way to do it. If you're doing it any other way, then you're not doing it right. You're effectively gambling based on some other analysis. You can win, huh? Gamblers win money, yeah? Just because you're gambling doesn't mean you can't win. But the traders that really know how to trade and trade on a regular basis, on a daily basis, they risk a small amount of their portfolio per trade. They take 1 or 2 or 3 trades, and if they fail, they walk away. They make a trade plan, they give reasons why, they create stats based on their previous trades. They risk a small amount, they scale into their entry, and they have a definite stop loss, and they don't widen the stop loss, they don't add because they think it's going to go up. They don't think, they just execute on analysis, and then they take profit and make the trade a risk-free trade as quickly as possible effectively. That's how traders do it. And so this is just entertainment, but it's fun, isn't it? It's fun to kind of look at the charts and be entertained. So I've just updated the volume profile. We still haven't hit that big point of control at 96k, and a definite level to breach. And then I've also got this kind of the bull market volume, which I've been looking at, and you can kind of see that the price is kind of was trying to get back above the value area. Now it's back underneath the value area high, and it's playing around here. Ideally, we want it to get back above the value area high. We want it to get back into this value area. That's what we want to see. If we don't see that, then the price could really struggle, huh? But at the same time, on the higher time frame, we could be forming a higher low here. And that's something just to kind of bear in mind. We could be forming something like that. Yeah, it's possible. Look at that. We could be ascending in the channel here. It could be a pot at the bottom of a rising channel. If you assume that these 2 points touch correctly, and then the top touch correctly there, and then you can see the midpoint there acted nicely there, little front run there, and found support until it lost. We could be forming some kind of accumulation here for a move up, and we have to be careful because any kind of move up could end up with a massive gigantic head and shoulders pattern with a lower high, and then neckline break, and we're fucked. Bitcoin is fucked. Yeah, and I think that's kind of this place we're at the moment, possibly at the neckline of the head, with a view of making a right shoulder. At the moment, that's what it looks like. What would change that is how the price moves up, and if we take out the high, the all-time high. Because if we were able to V-shape recovery here, changes everything, because then you'll be looking at a V-shaped recovery. Then you'll be looking to see how the price descends. If it's gently descends, you get consolidation, but a slow descent, we could be setting up for a massive move for continuation to the upside. It's possible. It's definitely possible. Just depends on how the price goes up. It depends on how high the price gets, and it depends on how the price comes back down, because you could also get a situation where you do get a V shape and you get a straight up rejection like that, and then there's no hope. It's finished. You go to a higher high, to a lower low, then you're literally fucked. Yeah. Then it will just be sell season. That would be it. That would be the end, effectively. Don't want to see that. But again, it just depends, because it depends on how the price goes up. I think probably when the price does go up, it will, when it breaks, however it breaks, it will go up quite fast, because you've got a sharp, fast down move. You'll probably end up with quite a sharp, fast up move. And then you're coming into resistance zones, and you're coming into potentially a golden pocket here. You're coming into high volume nodes. You're coming into value area highs. You come to a big resistance, maybe midpoint of this channel. The price could quite easily form a lower high, just kind of somewhere around there, and you got a head and shoulders pattern. Once people start seeing head and shoulders patterns, they get scared, very scared. They start selling whatever the price, they'll sell. You don't risk it, huh? When you start seeing a head and shoulders, everyone knows head and shoulders. The only way that you could end up with a bullish head and shoulders is an invalidated head and shoulders. So let's just say this is a really clean neckline. You break down and it immediately invalidates like that, and it gets back into the neckline, and then an invalidated bearish pattern is a bullish. An invalidated bearish is bullish, invalidated bullish is bearish. So when you invalidated a pattern that's and it goes the other way, then it becomes aggressively goes the other way. So there's lots of food for thought here. I'm just kind of thinking out loud while I look at the charts and just giving a little bit of commentary. I think we're probably in this kind of rising channel at the moment, probably. And I was looking at, did I save the images? Oh, I didn't save the images. I can't see them. I have to find them again. I was looking at the possibility of Wyckoff, because I didn't save it, I'm going to have to search for it on my images. We're looking for a Wyckoff accumulation schematic. You can search for it yourself, and there's two schematics effectively. Just to have a look. I looked at it last week. I should have saved the images, and I didn't save the images, and that's not even showing. How annoying. Let's have a look at this one. Let's have a look at that one. So this one has a spring, and then one of them has a spring and one of them doesn't. This is the schematic one. I wouldn't mind finding schematic 1 and schematic 2. So let me just have a look. Nation pattern 1. Just going back to that one, isn't it? Why don't I save these? It's so annoying. Alright, I know what I can do. I can just print screen it. So there's a schematic 1. Let's have a look at the 2. They're pretty much the same. I think 2 doesn't have a spring. If I can find it. Maybe I have to call it schematic. And spell. Yeah, I can. There it is. Nope. That's the 2. I'll print screen that as well. I should really kind of save these, shouldn't I? It's obviously not on a higher time frame. We're looking at it on a slightly lower time frame. I mean, based on these schematics, it still looks like we need a drop, doesn't it? Look, the drop ST in phase B, ST in phase B. It still looks like we've put in the ST here. SC, that's a PS. SC, some kind of AR here. Oh my god, I can't. AR here. Should I do this properly? I'm looking at a 12-hour time frame. Let me go slightly lower. No, 12 hours is enough. Possibly, yeah, it is possible right now. I was looking at it last week. PS. There's your SC. AR. Everything can be invalidated, yeah. Just because you're looking at this and thinking, oh yeah, this is perfect, it may not work. It can be invalidated. Everything can be invalidated. I think we need a lower low here, huh? An ST in phase B. Look, see that? Because you put in that higher high and we've come down. I think we need to go down to take out that low. And then a 5-wave, it would kind of look like this, huh? Down, then you get 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take out those highs. Do 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 do, like an ABC here. And that's when you go up like that, something like that. So I'm not sure about the timings, because obviously we're right at the beginning. We just entered phase B, and we haven't even put in an ST in phase B, because according to these schematics, both of them have the ST in phase B with a swing low, an SFP, or taking the liquidity from that swing low. You see that? Now this accumulation schematic 1 has a spring. The schematic 2 doesn't have a spring per se. It just kind of puts in a higher low. So that's the difference between these two, but otherwise they're pretty much the same. And then obviously the spring has a test, whereas you don't need a test because you're already above support lines. So once you spring, you have to back test the support lines, whereas without the spring you don't need to. That's effectively, so we are possibly in a Wyckoff accumulation schematic, and we are moving down to the downside, even though I think we are at a turning point. The reality is we're still underneath the value area low, and it's very possible that we get one move to the downside to take out this low. And so I'm just going to put that together. Possible accumulation. Okay. And so just based on that idea, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just have a look at the levels again. And I'm ignoring the 74k long that I've been thinking about, just because we're just not there yet. So there's no point thinking about it. Just get rid of this stuff. 69k, let's get rid of that. High time frame levels. Let's just have a look at the levels. Let me update the levels. That across. Levels are really important because that's how you see signs of strength or weakness. I think today we're looking at a green candle, so there's definitely going to be a new daily level unless something drastically goes wrong by the end of today. I'm just guessing that there's going to be a possibly if today's a green candle, it's going to be a daily level there. And then let's have a look at the weekly. So we do have a weekly level. It's been touched already, so it's a washed level, and we've already taken the liquidity from that level. Again, we have to see what kind of weekly we have, how the weekly closes. Does it close lower? Does it close above the previous week low? Is it green? Is it red? These are questions, and they will determine what happens next, because and we haven't taken out this low, this low here, this one, but there is a daily level just below it, and so I think probably that is a really good level to bounce off. 79 excuse me, 79,521. That daily level, that's really the one that I'm looking at. Let me have a look at the MPOX. Haven't updated these in a while. We are bouncing from some naked points of control. They're probably washed. I'm not going to waste time and go through them today. So, in a jest, what am I thinking? Well, let's have a look at the order flow. So we're above, what are we above? We're above the VWAP, we're above the daily, way above the daily open. So I mean, the price has already moved quite a lot, huh? It'd be very difficult to long here, wouldn't it? It'd be very difficult to long. The price has already moved, but it's not bearish just yet. Just simply because we're above lots of levels, huh? We haven't really lost any levels. The price is kind of still trending up, isn't it? And I'm not seeing any local bearish divergences just yet. I'm not seeing. You see, the CVD is putting in higher highs, the price is putting in higher highs, and so at the moment I'm not seeing bearish divergences. If anything, it's just lack of participants, but not like the bearish divergence which we want to see. When that moved up, you see the CVD went up and put in a higher high, and the price put in a higher high, and we haven't seen any big liquidations just yet to the upside. Maybe when New York opens we can get a sell-off, huh? And that's kind of, you'd want to see some you want to see what New York does. And the New York opens in about 1.5 hours, almost just over 1.5 hours. And I don't know if that's going to be a daily level, so let me just correct that to make sure. Possible daily if green, just so there's no confusion. Otherwise there aren't really many levels here, and it could quite easily go down to I think that's probably the next real nice long, actually, just looking at it. And that would be in line with the idea of the Wyckoff. It would be this is going back to this Wyckoff. Effectively, the long is this. It's a reaction off that daily level with a swing failure. And there's a weekly level just underneath it. So it doesn't really matter where the price finds support. The entry would be the swing failure. And once you get that, you have an invalidation. And obviously if there is no swing failure, then if the price just goes, if the price just does this, yeah, forget it. Don't even look at it. You need a reaction. You get a reaction, and then what you're looking for is a 5-wave impulsive move, huh? That first that first impulsive move, and that should take us all the way above the AR. And so you'd obviously have some intermediary take profits at key levels, but you know, you could actually have a really nice risk to reward here based on how the size of the invalidation there with that kind of Wyckoff type move. ST in phase B, that will get the market really bullish again. Then you're looking for a break of this trend line, and then once you take out the highs, people will start taking profit. You hit that point of control. If you get the 5 waves, probably that's where you're looking for the price to return and start coming back down. Wouldn't you? And then who knows, like, we don't know if it's going to print, if this was to continue, if you print a schematic 1 or a schematic 2, we don't know, because a schematic 1 would take us to another low, and schematic 2 would take us to a higher low, but it would get quite choppy. Yeah, you see. And actually what these are, this is like a large ABC corrective, isn't it? See that? ABC, that's what it is. That's what this is. This is like a 5 wave, the first part of the 5 wave, put in a low. Spring, that's your first wave. These are all waves. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think that's probably the best I can do looking at the charts. And as always, it's about the reaction. It's always about the reaction. Always about the reaction. And in here, so you don't know how the price is going to react, but it could easily go through, and what you want to see is, you just want to see that the price is now finding resistance. But the problem with the point of any level is that the price goes through it, and then it washes it, and you form something else, and then like an equal triangle, and then you don't know, because it could always break up. So it's not as clear as day, but like that's kind of the zone, isn't it? That point of control. Take out that daily, that weekly high point of control. Everyone is bullish. But what you actually have are longs, big longs here, taking profit into the point of control. That's what you actually have. And again, for safety, once the price starts coming back underneath this pivot, it'd be a failed auction, wouldn't it? It'd be like a failed auction. You have an invalidation, later entry, but you have a nice invalidation, and then you're probably aiming for wherever this pivot is. You'll be aiming for like the golden pocket. It's kind of what you're aiming for, something like that. But I mean, obviously you want a smaller invalidation. It's just that you need an invalidation. You need to know where you're wrong, because otherwise you get into a trade and the price does that, you know. And obviously that's not what you're expecting. That's not what you want. So you have to be out of it. That's what I got at the moment. I think right now we're in a bit of a kind of, we've broken that steeper trend line, like I said. It's washed it, and now we're kind of just, whatever we're doing here, we're maybe going sideways. Maybe we go down. Maybe we take that low. We could go sideways now for 5-6 days over the Christmas period. This might just go sideways and then down. You know, so I don't really know exactly when it's going to happen. And then obviously the only other thing I would say is, if we do manage to reclaim this value area low quickly today, let's just say we get a bullish engulfing and we go right back up, so things will change a little bit, because find support, then you could actually have a a higher up long trade on a sign of strength, which is a reclaim of this level. You can see the value area low here is acting as a SR flip. You can see that there. All right, so that is my Bitcoin update for today. I will have a look at dominance. Yeah, dominance is kind of just wherever it is. It went down, it's going back up. Nothing really to report. Let's have a look at ETH. Let's have a look at ETH. Yeah, ETH is actually not doing too bad, is it? Because it's just kind of finding some support on the top of this value area high, isn't it? That's what it's trying to do. So ETH is actually looking quite good here. You've got this big value area. We've broken up. We've put in a new all-time high by a fraction. And now we've come all the way back down to the value area. We're back testing this value area high. So I would say ETH doesn't look too bad if the price continues to find support here. And that's kind of what you want. You want the ETH to bottom here. Let's have a look at ETH BTC. ETH BTC is at a critical place as well because it's at above the range point of control. And if it continues to find support here and BTC does actually form an accumulation schematic, then we could see a nice continuation here and a nice ETH pump as BTC springs up. Kind of that. Any questions? If there's no questions, then I'll move on. All right, no questions, that's fine. Let's have a look at the next token. So yes, so people don't know, I kind of look at QANX on a weekly basis. I do Friday updates. QANX is a quantum resistant blockchain in development. It's been in development for a few years. According to this chart, it's been in development for a good part of 4 years. The Quan platform is the site to look for, and on the X page it says Quan platform. So if you're interested in QANX and Quan platform, then just go to their X page, have a look. Quantum resistance layer 1 blockchain. Why is that important? Because quantum chip computing is being invested in by the masses. Hello, altcoin dreaming. Hi, nice to see you. It's been a long time, long time. I've just looked at Bitcoin. Do you want me to go back? So yeah, it's quantum resistant layer 1. They foresee a future where quantum chips are going to break layer 1s and Bitcoin and ETH and the rest, and therefore they're developing and building according to this, a quantum resistant layer 1 hybrid. So this is a real world project. They have some real world partnerships. I think you just have to do your own research. None of this is financial advice. And the big news from last week was that the QANX link was successfully passed an audit. That's a big deal. But what I deduced from that post on X was that the mainnet is delayed simply because that they said preparations advanced for testnet version 2 launch. They haven't even launched the testnet version 2. I think with a testnet version 2 you expect it to be tested for at least a few weeks, maybe a month at least, just to make sure that everything is working and there are no problems. And so but that will be the final stage. So we are kind of getting to the final stage of what could be a mega mainnet launch. But in my stream last week I talked about the delay. No one's told me this. I don't work for Quan platform. It's just entertainment really. and that's why I put that's why I put QANX up there. Mainnet delay confirmed. I just kind of deduced that, and then I kind of, if you look at my video, I say, well, I look at the Elliott waves. If you're interested, go back to last week and have a look. I look at the Elliott waves. I say, okay, well, we've put in a lower low, so we're probably looking at a massive consolidation of the initial pump, which was the buyback from the bridge hack, and any kind of impulsive wave here was invalidated just because we put in a lower low there. So that changes everything, and here I was talking about the possibility of going down further, and I'm not trying to influence people's decisions, but last week when I was streaming, it was much higher than where we are. So it has gone down. There was no kind of up. It was like, I think people were kind of a bit fed up or whatever, a bit frustrated, and they were like, okay, so we're putting in lower lows now. There's no buyback. The mainnet's been delayed. Let me just kind of scale out. Maybe they scaled it out to Tether or to Bitcoin or whatever, and maybe they'll scale back in. Volume is really important. So just with anything, I'm just looking across this whole range, the volume is pretty steady. It's pretty low. And I think ultimately what happens in the future is once you see the crazy injection of volume, everyone's going to jump in again. And the thing about a low liquidity token like this is that by the time you see that, the price could be right up there. One big massive green god candle. And then what do? Do you end up buying 200% higher? Maybe yes, because you're just catching the run, aren't you? If people are only interested in catching the run, then effectively what you have to do is you have to wait for this to bottom and show signs of bottoming, or you have to wait for the first impulse, the first big impulse. And at the moment, as you can see, we've invalidated this impulsive move there completely. That was a 5-wave move. It's invalidated. We've taken out the lows. I told you that last week. It's been invalidated. And so the whole thing is just some kind of accumulation, or that's not working. I don't know why. Snapshot. You sent me a snapshot. It's not working. Altcoin Dreaming sent me something, but it's not working at the moment. Some kind of correction, effectively. And then what I was talking about last week, maybe, who knows? Like, who knows? No one really knows. I've come to learn that no one actually knows anything, and it's just all for fun. Yeah, so I don't take myself seriously. I bring some eyes to QANX. That helps everyone and gives them a little bit of peace of mind and confidence, but that's all it really does. Sometimes I've been right, and so that's fun. It's fun when you're right. I'm just now thinking to myself, probably, if there is anything going on, it's probably going to be something like some kind of expanded flat. I don't know. I can't even remember what I was saying. Maybe an expanded flat. I don't know how that works out now. I was looking at it last week. Was it there? Was it to the? Maybe to the. Like a real expanded flat. Altcoin Dreaming, your link isn't working. Sorry. Oh, okay. Great. Cheers. Let me open my Discord then, because it's closed at the moment. If you're interested, come and join our Discord, yeah? And I'm starting to get active again. I'm going to get back into... I've had a crazy year, guys. I have a story to tell one day in the future when I'm ready to tell it. I'm going to tell you one of the craziest stories ever of my life. Not yet, but I'm kind of going to get back into trading again and go back to BTC trading. In the meantime, come into our Discord. The link is below the video. It's basically, I mean, it says Amir's Candle 3, but basically it's me and Altcoin Dreaming. We're crypto friends, and he posts a lot of good stuff. Come in there. You can talk about QANX. You can stress about QANX. You can stress about you can come and curse me if you want. No, you can join the line. You can join the queue. Curse me about D-Travel. And there's some good information there if you want to learn to trade. There's some tools and stuff. There's some learning zone, useful images. We've kind of got a collection of really useful stuff, and channels to look at where you can actually learn to trade. Yeah, but it's education, isn't it? It's all education. None of it's financial advice. And I used to post. I haven't posted charts recently just because I'm not trading. But when we are trading, we will. Altcoin Dreaming's been posting some stuff recently. I saw that in the crypto channel. He's trading BTC and ETH, as you can see, and he's explaining everything. So if you're interested, come in there. There's no fees. It's free. It's fun. If anyone by the name of Amir, i.e. me, or Altcoin Dreaming messages you, then it's probably a spam bot or a hacker or something. So just let us know and we'll kick ban them. But at the moment, you're welcome to join. Everyone is welcome to. It's a good chat. Have a good chit chat. And so he's posted something. Let me have a look at that. BCH. BCH. Well, I'll have a look at that when I come back to BCH. Okay. So let's just go back to, let me just go back to QANX and the Quan platform. What is there to do here? I don't really know if there's anything you can do here. Do you sell? Do you buy? What do you do? Do you wait? I think it's a hard one, but I'm not here to give advice, but you can't do anything but wait, can you? Let me just, I was just squiggling on the QANX chart. Let me just hide that. Have to be patient. Yeah, and it's a hard one with these illiquid tokens because you're patient. You feel it's bearish, but you're patient because you're higher time frame bullish. But the price is already down 33%, and no one wants to sell. But at the same time, people are selling. You can see it, and then that kind of puts everyone on the back foot. Is this bull market over? Yeah, it's possible. It all depends upon Bitcoin and whether we put in a right shoulder and put in a lower high on the next move to the upside. There will be a move to the upside on Bitcoin for sure. For sure. And that might be the last chance saloon for a lot of these tokens for people to get out with a little bit of profit or break even if they're underwater. So complacency is a danger. Don't get complacent just because you feel that this is going to be the most expensive token in the world and the quantum computer threat is coming and everything is bullish. Don't be complacent, yeah? Because the reality is, as I did in my Bitcoin analysis earlier on, and go back to Bitcoin, yeah? We're still underneath, we might be forming an accumulation schematic here. We're still underneath this outer trend line. But the reality is, even if we do kind of form an accumulation schematic here or spring or whatever, we're looking at a really ugly head and shoulders pattern here. Yeah. And that's, once that forms, that right shoulder, once you get a rejection, that's going to scare the market like crazy. It will scare everyone. And once everyone is scared, people will sell. They will dump without hesitation. So you can't be complacent. Now, like I've said in my Bitcoin analysis, go and have a look at my Bitcoin analysis. There's always a chance of a fake out off the neckline and then you're back into bullish. Huh? If that was to happen, that would be an invalidated head and shoulders because you've broken, but you've actually got back into the neckline and then it becomes super bullish. But until that happens, it's really bearish. Huh? Once you see a lower high, lower lows, becomes really bearish. And then everyone will be thinking, especially with the timings, if it's March, April, May, people will be thinking, that's it, Bitcoin is dead, it's over. The next time there, people will be thinking to accumulate, Bitcoin will be here, and then unfortunately you have to be out of your altcoins. You have no choice. It doesn't matter how strong the altcoin is. The quantum narrative is a 5-year narrative, 10-year narrative. We're not there yet. And so when you go back to, obviously this is just one idea, anything can happen. You know, you could always get a higher high and a V shape, because yeah, you can get lots of different things. It's just one idea, but this is what's presenting the market. This is what's being presented to the market by the charts at the moment. And so when you're looking at QANX and you're thinking, yeah, QANX is going to go to the moon. Yeah, I'm bullish on QANX too. But I tell you what, I'd rather buy this token at the bear market low and accumulate with a higher time frame view that quantum computing is going to break all layer ones and this is the next big thing, than sit on a token and hopium and watch it crash. I've learned my lessons. And I'm not going to, but that's how you learn, is it? You learn that I'm not involved in this project, so I have no idea what's happening. But the reality is they've had plenty of time to do something great. And if they don't time it right, then we might not see this next big wave. Or you might see a wave 3 that just takes us. You could see something like that. Whatever. It's not likely, but it's possible. You know, you could see another. I mean, it would be a big move from wherever this bottomed out, 500%, and everyone will be like, ah, yeah, this is bullish. We're going to the moon now. This is it. This is it. Get ready. But all it might do is just go from the bottom of the range, which is the value area low, to the top of the range, which is the value area high. That might be it. With a back test of pivot 1 of the top of 1, which is there, for another test of the value area high. And that's it. And that's your bull market. And actually that's a correct move, because you're looking at your wave 1 there, some crazy correction, and a wave 3 and a wave 5, and none of the rules are broken. The rules are all intact, the Elliott wave rules. Or, depending on how they launch the mainnet, and the timing is really important too. And the thing is, right now I've got it coming just to take out these lows and maybe coming into this area. We don't know how far this 2 can go. This 2 can go quite low. Yeah. Now, I don't think it's just going to go down in a straight line, but what if it goes down to there? In terms of Elliott wave theory, it can go to the beginning of the impulse. Now, based on this impulse, I'm just estimating it's probably somewhere there, even though I can see a little green candle. I think it's probably there because there's a gap. Just ignoring the gap. And so this, as long as it doesn't go back into the and put a lower low, put in a higher low, for reasons that I can't explain, you could see this drop. It's possible another 77% before you get your big move, your big wave 3, which would take us maybe in that circumstance, it could just take us back to, yeah, it would have to take us all the way up to there, because the wave 5 the wave 4 can't come underneath the top of the wave 1, and that's basically what you'd be thinking about. And you get your big move, but it's a 1,600% move, but it's from down here, not from where we're at now. And so you have to have a higher time frame strategy for accumulation, and then you have to have a higher time frame strategy for taking profit, and that's it. Or just be higher time frame, like super higher time frame, think long term, think 10 years, and gamble and just keep on buying. You'll end up with the average. Yeah, whatever the average is, you'll end up with the average, assuming the project doesn't fail. Whatever you do, if you just accumulate dollar cost average, time weighted average price over a higher time frame period, hypothetically, let's just say a monthly period, so let's say every month you're buying $1,000, you'll end up with the average. So right now, if you were doing that, and if you bought that low as well, because that's the problem, it drops and people don't buy the crazy dips. But let's just say you were buying all these months, you're buying all these months, you'd probably be on average roughly where we are now. Yeah, probably. You would have plenty of time to take profit, and then when the price goes down, you have to still keep on averaging in. And that's how dollar cost averaging works, because over the range of the token you end up with the average. Okay, now with a sideways ranging token like this, you probably end up somewhere in the middle with an average price. It's nice when you're trending up, okay, because then the price always goes away from you and you're always in profit, but that rarely happens these days. So that's QANX. I think if you want to just go back to last week's video, you'll probably see my analysis on what I think. I think probably at the moment the next target is the value area low. I'll kind of just pull that up again. I've probably, we've taken out these lows, we've lost these lows, look at that, we've lost these lows, we've lost them. That's the next low there, and then you've got this value area low, and even the value area low is an arbitrary level. It could go a bit lower. Could go much lower, or a bit lower rather. Or Coin Dreamer was saying, I hate it when you use log, but and a token like this, when from the low to the high it's 3000%, you have to use log, huh? You have no choice. Let's use regular for a bit. Change that to regular. I mean, it's no help really, is it? Can I buy TRVL? Of course you can. You can do what you want. You can run outside naked if you want. Of course you can. No one's stopping you. I've turned my social stream off because it keeps on double texting. I don't know why. It's so annoying. Yeah, I still think on this one I prefer log. So there, yeah, that's why I've got that white line. Probably the golden pocket on the log scale. It would bring us back into this little bit here, which I think makes sense to come back into this little bit here, this little area here. It'd be the value area low of this little range, golden pocket, and if we don't see any reaction from this pivot low here, then it's another 34% down. I'm not saying it's going to happen, I have no idea, but look, we are seeing a pretty nasty sell-off, aren't we? We are, aren't we? That's a sell-off. Yeah. And the last time we had a nasty sell-off here from these highs, it took a while to turn around. It didn't just turn, it didn't just kind of bounce, did it? It took a while. How many weeks did that take? And so we might be in a similar situation where you kind of have to wait for the first buying to come in. See that? The first buying, the low was taken and it still made another low. And that was a sell-off. Look at that sell-off. And it still took like 4 or 5 weeks to settle down before it went up. And this was in better conditions. The conditions of the market were different. And so for safety's sake, I always look at these outer trend lines and say these are the safe bets. If you're looking for safety, like if you just want to get in when it's safe, just draw like one of these. Let's draw all of them. No. Probably that one. It's messy, but probably something like that. Probably there. See that? Just wait for that trend line to break. And that will give you ample time to just wait for safety to start buying back, because that trend line has to break for the price to go up. And you can always get a situation when the price goes up and it rejects and it goes right back down. Yeah. And ultimately what you want to see a break, you want to see some kind of back test, and then you want to see a new high. And once you see that kind of structure, you get a market structure change, trend lines are broken, you're seeing strength, then what you'll actually end up doing, you start accumulating on the way up rather than trying to catch the absolute bottom. The reality is no one knows the bottom. No one can predict the bottom. Yeah, I just know that you have an arbitrary value area low level at around 0.014, and then much lower down, I prefer lower down, is 0.0115, which is the golden pocket area, and that lines up with this previous little range here and a value area low there. And I kind of prefer that area than just catching it like there. And the only thing that I think would change my mind if you're trying to catch a low is a nice swing failure of this pivot here, this pivot low. So once you take out that pivot, like that, yeah, you've got a long trade there with an invalidation, and then you could go up to pump up to touch that trend line to come back down again, you know. So there's a trade, but it doesn't indicate strength, it just indicates a good place to long, assuming you get a swing failure or reaction. And then it doesn't mean the price is turned, it just means that traders people have stopped selling, people have started buying. But then actually when the price goes up, and in that situation, if it did that, it would move up 30-40%, people would start taking profit aggressively again. And then people who are a little bit trapped, they'll be looking to sell these lows here, wouldn't they? So you actually have confluence for selling if the price does manage to do this and go back up and to backtest that trend line, backtest that SR flip for another move to the downside. You've got to be aware of this. The mainnet is delayed. It's just a fact. I'm just looking at the X page. Unfortunately, I was right. In this circumstance, I was right. And they haven't posted anything since the 12th of December. That's 7 days ago. That's basically last Friday. That was their last post. I saw this post, wasn't I? Or maybe I didn't. What time did they post that? 2 p.m. No, I didn't see this. What is it? Google and UK's UK National Quantum Computing Centre have announced a collaboration providing researchers access to Google's advanced Willow quantum processors through grants. Proposals are due. Like, I mean, it's just kind of like good. It's good information and it's all quantum based, but it just tells you that things are slow, huh? We're not seeing like I want to see 100 qubits processed, bam, you know, 100, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000. I want to see 1,000,000. I want to see we've made advances and we've just created the first 1,000,000 qubit processor. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see we're accepting grants and they're due by the 31st of January and we can do a bit of networking to use our 4,000 qubit processor. That's not what I want to see. I want to see mega bullish news that quantum computing is literally about to become big. And at the moment, it's just like food for thought for the future. And the main thing was that they still need to launch their testnet version 2. That preparations, no news since the 1st of December. Yeah. So it's a bit sad. And it's Christmas time and everyone's on holiday and vacation, and these people are probably having their Christmas turkey or whatever. So that's quantum platform, Quan platform, QANX. As I said before in my streams, like, I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news. I want people to be safe. I want people to use the right strategies. Most people should only use dollar cost average. They should only do it on a time weighted average price. They should only risk value that they're willing to lose. Disposable income, coffee income, value that you're willing to spend on coffee, you can spend it. And then for the most part, don't look at the charts. Have a real long-term strategy for accumulation. Don't look at, if you're looking at the charts, you look at me, if you're a higher time frame person, you're looking at QANX for a long time, and you should be looking at this as an opportunity to accumulate more at lower prices. But you have to be patient, and the patience could be a year, could be 2 years, who knows. Yeah, you have to be patient. And the risk is that, like I said, we drop much further, go all the way down to here, basically, to put a higher low here. There's a risk, huh? It's possible. Assuming the project doesn't fail. And I don't think it's going to fail, because they've got some of the biggest backers in the market. And you just have to be prepared for that. And to be prepared for that, you have to be willing to accumulate the dips. All right, so that's QANX. If you like this video, please like it, share it, make a comment. GTeep says this one is also heading 99% down. Possibly. All right. Lo and behold, I'm meeting someone later. Lo and behold, I'm going to talk about everyone's favorite token. I'm going to talk about everyone's favorite token. What the hell? No, not everyone's favorite token. At the moment, everyone's worst nightmare, right? Look at that shit. So, what have we got in front of us? It's like Nightmare on Elm Street, isn't it? It's like Saw. What do you do? What do you do if you've been accumulating TRVL? Not financial advice. Well, first and foremost, my name is Amir. I do a weekly stream on and talk about TRVL and D-Travel. That's why I wear my D-Travel hat. I'm not employed by D-Travel, and I have a YouTube channel. And on my YouTube channel, I've been talking about D-Travel for the last 2 years. You can find my playlist on my YouTube channel here. There it is, D-Travel. You go there and you can have a look at my playlists. They got I've got over 200 videos. My last video was last Friday, and it's a very important video if you haven't watched the video and you're interested about D-Travel, because that video I talk about why I'm still bullish on D-Travel, my personal journey, the history of D-Travel, and what's next. So I go into depth. It's a long video. It's a 57-minute video. I've had some good feedback on that video, and I like good feedback. It kind of gives me good vibes. Forget about the charts. I like good feedback, because it just at least I made someone's day. So this is Andrea. She says, this is one of my favorite video of yours. And what can I say? Thank you. Yes, mucho amor. Much love. And I hope that I can make better videos on a weekly basis. If I can't do anything, at least I can make good videos or better videos. Someone else sent me a message. I'm going to post it here. They sent it to me on Telegram. Sometimes I get a lot of abuse. I got abuse too, so I'm going to share the abuse. I'll share both. And he goes, good evening, Mr. Amir. Thank you. I just finished your video on your personal journey with D-Travel, and it struck me as one of your most compelling narratives yet. It carries the clarity of someone who has lived the turbulence and the promise from the inside. It's true. Now we wait, not passively, but with the practiced patience of those who understand that the future rewards the ones who stay alert to its quiet shifts. What can I say? Much appreciation, much love, Andy and Planet. And I got abuse as well, so let me just kind of let's not forget the abusers. Crypto Steve, dead coin. So what can I say? He's right, isn't he? He's right. Yeah, it is a dead coin. This is what we've been saying for a long time. And so, like I said, if you don't know me, I do a weekly, call it a YouTube video or podcast, call it what you want. I talk about D-Travel. I bring some insight into the background and the history, into the fundamentals. Why do I do that? Because I am a D-Travel super host. I have, D-Travel super host, a D-Travel host. I have my apartments in London. They're listed on D-Travel. I've turned over. I wonder if I can log on. I don't think I can because I'm logged out at the moment. Or maybe I can. Maybe the cookie is still there. Yep, I've completed 36 direct bookings. And I've turned over $66.7 thousand worth of rental value through those bookings over the past 3 years. So that's why I'm quite bullish on the business, because I know that there is a demand, there is need for what D-Travel provides, which is effectively it's an Airbnb without Airbnb. So you can search for properties, can't you? Just like you can on Airbnb in different parts of the world. And you can put in the dates, whatever. And you can click on the property links and that will take you to their direct site, which is hosted on D-Travel for free. And mostly for free. And here you can check the availability and you can book it. You can book it, you can reserve it. See that? Reserve. It tells you the price. Click on reserve. Pay by crypto or pay by fiat, Google Pay, etc. And that's it. And so basically you're avoiding, or they're avoiding, the Airbnb fees. The Airbnb fees are quite large. It's about 16.5% in total. It's not a small amount. And so I was quite positive about D-Travel when I got involved. I showed that it works. So people were coming back to me and wanted direct bookings, and this gave me the ability to do that, send reservation links, receive guests directly, and it was fully insured. So I had peace of mind that if anything happened, I would be protected, and also I'm not going to be deactivated by Airbnb in the future, so that I don't have to worry about that threat. That being said, well, look at this. Look at the token, and I think because I'm kind of looking at crypto and I'm analyzing crypto a little bit, I'm interested in crypto because for a lot of people, crypto is the opportunity of a lifetime to become financially free, isn't it? It's the promise of rich rewards in shorter period of time, because everyone knows that in crypto you can go from nothing to becoming a multimillionaire quickly. Yeah, that's why a lot of people are interested in crypto. And there's the problem in the last 4 years are multiple. And it's not just a problem with D-Travel. I think it's a problem with the whole crypto market. It isn't just D-Travel that's struggled. Yeah, I've just been talking about QANX. Yeah, QANX is a layer 1 in development with so much value in funding, so much value, and I've been bullish on this token as well. Yeah, and it's struggling. Yeah, maybe not as bad as TRVL, but it's struggling. You can see it's struggling. Yeah, it's in a correction. But it isn't like going up and up and up. It isn't. It's, look at it. They're also getting a sell-off. Yeah. When you look at other tokens, I've looked at other tokens in the past. Not so many recently. I looked at portal to Bitcoin, for example. Look at it. From the launch, I don't know where, it's down like 94%. So, you know, these big projects with a lot of, on multiple exchanges, they're not exactly doing, I mean, you can argue that Solana's done really well. Yes, it has. It's done really well. But a lot of tokens are struggling, yeah? Sui, let's have a look at Sui. They've gone up a lot, but they are struggling, yeah? So it's not just a D-Travel thing or a TRVL thing. A lot of tokens are struggling. And what does that mean? Do you give up? Yeah, you could. Arguably, yes. Arguably, that's what you do. You give up and you focus on the strong ones. Or what you have to do is you have to look at the why. You have to understand the why. Why the struggle? Why is TRVL struggling? And that's why I make videos, because I'm trying to explain to people why. So if you haven't looked at my last week's video, please go and have a look. It's really important. Why I'm still bullish on D-Travel. My journey, the history, and what's next. Go and watch it. It'll give you some real insight into the history of D-Travel. Am I still bullish? Yeah, I'm really bullish. I'm really, really, really bullish. And nothing's changed from last week to this week, except we've had more selling. And I've explained this to you guys before. The reason we're getting this selling is the Bybit ST tag. And now what's actually happened is that Bybit have announced the delisting. So on the general channel and the Telegram, Eric, on Monday, he came and he said, "Great Monday morning, afternoon, D-Travel community. I want to share a quick update regarding our strategy as we head into the next phase of D-Travel. Over the past month, we decided to pause market making incentives for venues." So basically he's saying that Bybit were pulling us effectively. But the reality was that Bybit wasn't bringing value anyway. It wasn't bringing in traffic. It was taking away. That's what he's saying. And it's true. We were actually losing out with being on Bybit in many ways, because it all stems to the historic problems that D-Travel has faced. And when you have a token with so many problems, with so many failures in the past, being on a platform like Bybit, in many ways, it makes it easier for people to extract their value. And so the strategy is changing. This is what he's saying. Our goal is to ensure TRVL is accessible in the specific regions where D-Travel bookings and real-world adoption are growing fastest. We want liquidity focused on actual user growth, not just speculation. And so he's basically saying the people who bought TRVL and Bybit were speculators mostly, and they weren't really interested in D-Travel. And look what he says. We remain fully committed to the partners who are aligned with building the future of travel, and this focus allows us to pursue higher value regional exchange partners. So actually he's giving you clues here, and I can confirm that. So D-Travel are looking at other exchanges right now, okay, and making partnerships with maybe smaller exchanges, but where there's more beneficial activity to a project like D-Travel, where you've also got organic growth on the D-Travel real world network. And so there's more news to come regarding that. So I'm just giving you a little bit of insight of what's happening behind the scenes. We value our community expertise. If you have a relationship with a strong regional exchange or platform that fits the vision, please let us know. More details of these changes along with a new roadmap will be available soon. Have a wonderful week ahead. So that's what's going on with the token. Bybit is finally delisting us. What does that mean for the token? Well, remember what I said to everyone? I said, and I've talked about this so many times, like so many times, and I said that when you look at fib time, the third week of December, this is an area of time. It's not an exact time, but we're coming into a major fib time. See that? That's the 2.618. Every time we come into a major fib time, we put in a pivot, some kind of pivot. Sometimes it takes a few weeks. to create a pivot, and sometimes it's just 1 week. But effectively, when we come into a major big time, we put in a pivot. It just so happens that with this Bybit ST tag and then Bybit delisting, what I was hoping for maybe is that we wouldn't go down so low, we wouldn't lose this value area, and that's just put extreme amounts of pressure on the token price. And we've just seen this, unfortunately, we've seen this sell-off. Okay, but hope is not lost in terms of the technicals of the charts, because I think we'll be seeing a pivot here. The question will be the buyback. Do we get a buyback? Do people now aggressively buy this dip? Is this the dip of the lifetime? Is this the opportunity of a lifetime to buy TRVL at 0.0015? So basically 15% of a cent. Is that right? We've seen quite a large volume as well to the downside, unfortunately. So there's a lot of selling, but naturally with selling there has to be buying. Okay, and it's the most volume we've actually experienced ever. Look at it, look at that volume. So it's quite a big sell-off. You can't ignore it. I find often with these kind of massive volume sell-offs, with the next pump you do get some kind of retracement. But we don't know. I mean, sometimes in this situation you could just get a simple back to the golden pocket, back to test these lows. On the current price, it would still be quite a lot. It'd be like a 250% increase, and then you just continue the structure. You put in a lower high and you still go down. Okay, because what happens is that people who are trapped or who are sitting on a large amount of TRVL who weren't able to sell, they see this as an opportunity to exit. And it also means that anyone who's like still buying will take profit. And it's the same old story, isn't it? That's technically what happens in the markets when you get bounces, and we don't even know if we're going to get a bounce. Technically, no one can predict the future, but I do think we're going to put in a pivot here. I've always thought that. And I still believe that. I still believe this is kind of a pivot. So there is an opportunity. Now, you come to my channel and you're just wondering, okay, now what's going on with D-Travel? Because that's why people come and watch me. They want to know what's going on with D-Travel, the future. They want to know about the future. And I've talked about this a lot in my streams. I've been as honest as possible. I've been as transparent as possible. And I'm still on this. Nothing's changed. We're looking to change D-Travel. There's going to be huge changes. There's going to be tokenomics changes. There's going to be, everything's changing, right? And what we're doing now is we're looking, or D-Travel is looking at the past and going, okay, what's not worked and what has worked? And then they're getting rid of everything that's not worked, and they're holding on to what's working. And right now, the one thing that I can tell you is working is this: the business. The business is working. Look at this. This isn't fake. This is real. Yeah, when someone asks me to book my properties in London, I send them a direct booking list link. Yeah, sometimes they convert. Look, I've sent one yesterday. Sometimes they convert and sometimes they don't. But I do that because I can give them cheaper prices, and they prefer to do it with me directly rather than going through Airbnb. So it does work. The business does work. We're almost close to 11,000 booked nights. And if you go into the Telegram and you have a look, you can see a thriving business. New booking site activated. New booking site activated. New booking process. See that? New booking processed. New booking processed. New booking processed. So you can see that the business is working. Now, if you also go to June Analytics, you can see the growth of the network. You can see the size of the network. You can see everything. Yeah, so everything is transparent. So how can we save TRVL? And this is what's on everyone's mind. Is TRVL dead? How can we save TRVL? What should I do? Should I just sell and get out? Is D-Travel going to go bankrupt? Someone sent me a message today. He said, it seems to me that TRVL is now completely booked, unlikely to recover at this point. Is there any hope left from your point of view? It's 99.9% down. Recovery to a new all-time high is extremely unlikely based on historical examples. So I honestly, I don't want to mislead anyone. Yeah, I don't want to tell people that this is a healthy chart. Okay, I thought there were signs in the past where we could recover, we could do certain things. None of it was financial advice, but what we're experiencing is what I talked about last week, is a continuation of the failures of the previous leadership and the previous vision. The vision that I've basically been holding to account for the last 2 years behind the scenes, and more openly since last February. Okay, and if you want to kind of like, I don't think we should blame anyone. I think these are lessons, and they're only valuable if we can learn from them, and if we can do what's right, and if we can look within ourselves and admit where we made mistakes, and then not do better, but do our best. Okay, and I think what we have right now with the new team is exactly that. With the new leadership, is people who have realized, or coming to realize, that it went wrong, and the reason why they're engaging with me, the reason why they're engaging with different people, not just Mia, lots of different people, is because it's like, hands up. Yeah, we got it. They got it wrong. And the people who've stayed have the guts to face the firing line. And that's what I love about Eric. He hasn't run away, tried to, he's trying to save this. The previous CEO had opportunities to save this. I promise you. So many times did I try to talk to her privately. So many times. Towards the end, she was just ignoring everything I was saying. She was ignoring my message. She wouldn't even read them. Okay. And ultimately what happened is that she left, and she wants nothing to do with it. And the other founder, the two co-founders, left. Can you believe that? Because not only were they not willing to admit that they were wrong, they weren't willing to face the people that they misled. Okay? They weren't willing to face them. They weren't willing to accept that they were wrong. Because if they were willing to accept that they were wrong, they would also be willing to change the direction. And we could have changed the direction of D-Travel back in February, when I was making points about the problems that D-Travel was experiencing, that TRVL. We could have done that. They could have done it. We could have had a town hall, a town forum, a marketplace, whatever. We could have sat down, we could have had a conversation, an honest conversation, and they could have started making changes. But instead, what they did is they left, they jumped ship. And what you have now are people who really believe, who honestly and genuinely believe in turning this around, who really believe that we can do this. Eric, James, Ty, Quinn, they're true believers. They believe we can turn this around. It isn't just about a business it isn't just about making this business succeed, because the reality is this business to succeed, because if you look at the Dune analytics, and this is the truth, we have 10,000 operator sign-ups, 6,165 listings. We need exponential growth. And at the moment, if you can carry this line forward another 4 years, I mean, look, from last year till now, we've gone up 2,000. So it's a 50% increase in 1 year. So based on that, let's say we're increasing 50% every year. So we're in 6,000 now, roughly. So next year, we'll be on 9,000. And let's say we just continue that pattern. In 4 years' time, we'll be at 30,000 listings. So we'll basically go from 6,000 to 30. And then you have a business that works, but it doesn't mean the token is going to go up the way people want it to go up or the way people hoped that it would go up. Maybe that means that in the next 4 years with this current business plan, we can actually bottom out here. And then that's assuming that the runway is, we don't run out of the runway. Yeah, because the runway is really important. And so when the TRVL price is low, it reduces the runway because it means that DTravel hasn't got that buffer of being able to sell some TRVL to expand the runway. Yeah, and so naturally DTravel isn't going to be selling TRVL at these prices. And not only is there no liquidity at these prices, but also it's just ridiculously low price for the token. But they have stayed, they haven't left, they haven't jumped ship, they haven't abandoned us, they're still there. And if you go onto Telegram, you have a look, you can go and have a chat with them. You can chat with oops, let me just go to Telegram now. You go to the DTravel community, you can have a chat, you can message them if you want, just make sure that you let them know. Eric is there and Andrea is there, she's chatting and they're active. Look, Andrea Mong, she's talking about the 2026 roadmap. They're engaging, they haven't left, they're not running away, they're not ignoring the community. That's not happened. And I'm still here firmly reiterating what's being said and what's being done. Okay, anyway, I don't want to make this video too long because sometimes I can go on for a bit too long. What's coming? So this is what I want to kind of really get to. A lot of people come to my stream and what's coming? Are you still bullish? Yeah, I am. I'm so bullish now you don't even understand. Yeah, and I bought some today. Yeah, I bought some more TRVL today. It's so cheap. It's so easy. You can just buy like 500,000-600,000. It's not much. It's so cheap. Why would you not buy some? Yeah, you only don't buy some if you think the token's going to zero. And I don't actually believe the token's going to zero. I don't believe that. I believe that we're going to pull it around. This team, Eric, is going to turn it around. And really what I can't really share what's kind of like the details because it's not for me to share all the details, but I'll kind of let you in on a few things. Okay, what we're looking for is what's going to be announced is a new vision for transformation and growth. Okay, we haven't had that announcement yet. And I think that's when you're going to really begin to understand the why of the last 4 years. Because in the last 4 years, DTravel has done something great. They have built an application that works, a real business that works. It's just not profitable yet, but it's just a business that works. But in terms of crypto, what you're going to be seeing is a new vision for transformation and growth. And they're going to be addressing the token, the disconnect between the token's value and the platform's operational success. This will restore investor confidence, and what they want to do is incentivize long-term hodling. And to do that, DTravel will create a self-sustaining economy. Okay, there's some other things that are happening, and I think top of the list is converting DTravel into a decentralized autonomous organization. Okay, and the new initiatives when they get launched. And I think a lot of people are like, what are these new initiatives? How are they going to impact the price of TRVL? We just have to wait and see. But I think the common theme that keeps on getting reiterated in Telegram, if you go to Telegram and listen to the conversations, and if anyone has a conversation with me, one of the easiest and the most effective ways of increasing token value is by burning tokens. And I think that's going to be top of the list of what happens next. The token burns. Okay, so I'm just giving you some kind of insight into the future. And what will solidify everything is integrating real world travel with virtual elements to drive engagement and token value. And so this is the kind of the big question, the big kind of the unknown. Like, people are like wondering what can happen with D-Travel. I think what you have to do is look at D-Travel, the application which was built by the previous leadership, as a success, and everything else a failure. Then you have to kind of get rid of and forget about what they did, because they messed up and they left. They didn't face the music. They jumped ship. The people who stayed behind are true believers, and that's what we want. We want true believers, people who truly believe in decentralized travel. Okay, those are the ones who are going to save us, and we're going to find it in ourselves to do that. And then together we're going to rise up together. And ultimately what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking what works and creating something new, and using what works as the foundation of the new thing that we create. Okay, so we're effectively looking at creating a completely new business, but much bigger, much more ambitious, and it will address the issues that people have always been raising. What about the token? What about the token? What about the token? If anything, the first people that D-Travel will be rewarding will be the token holders, or the early adopters, the early investors, of people who held. They are priority number one in the vision for the future. And that will be addressed with the new tokenomics. And so I've talked about tokenomics in the past. I think the only way we can go forward, and this is my feedback, is a Bitcoin-based tokenomics. And once that uncertainty has been settled, once no one is uncertain anymore about all the extra tokens that are lying around, once people understand the how and the why, and then once people connect that with everything else that will be announced, a DAO governance and the new initiatives and how the token will be burned in those new initiatives, and then the lastly and the most important part will be the new business. The new business which will build on D-Travel, the application, as a foundation to create something which is going to basically bring the whole world to D-Travel. The whole world. Effectively, what we need to do is we need to create an economy which includes everyone. And I think the top of the kind of the catchphrase that is on my mind is, and this is like, well, I was just thinking about it a lot. Why do people ever get involved in crypto? Ultimately, it's about becoming rich. It's about financial freedom, isn't it? It isn't just about making cool things or playing games or doing. It's about financial freedom. That's why people get involved in crypto. That's the lure for the people who are involved in crypto. Anyone who comes to crypto, they want to do better than they currently are in their current situation. And we have to answer that question. We have to give people the assurance and the confidence that they will find financial freedom in the new version of D-Travel, the new business of D-Travel. Okay, so right now in the current business, it's quite limited, isn't it? Because you have to have a property, the property has to get booked, you need travelers, and you still don't get financial freedom. It's just an extension of your business that you already are running and operating, just like I am with my Airbnbs in London. Okay, what D-Travel needs to do is take that as a foundation, the application that works, and then reinvent themselves and create something which has the capability of giving everyone who is involved with D-Travel financial freedom. That will attract every single person, because that's what people want. They want to be free from the systems that govern them and control them, and they want to be financially independent and financially free. And the things that we DTRVL will do, and I'm not talking about 10 months from now, I'm talking like the announcements are about to be made. We want to encourage accumulation, so basically to motivate users to acquire as much TRVL as possible. That has to be priority number one. Promote long-term holding or hodling, and so we need to incentivize the users to hodl TRVL indefinitely without selling. We need to drive asset liquidation, so we need to inspire people to sell their other assets to accumulate more TRVL. These are the objectives. And we need to enhance the functionality. And the functionality, to do that, we need to transform TRVL into a practical and integral token within the DTRVL economy. It has to be economy. So what we have to do is we have to create a brand new economy, an economy which includes everyone and gives people a reason to participate. That's changing. The whole thing is changing. So we have a new CEO. If you don't know who he is, his name is Eric Pace. I'm going to show you now. He didn't jump ship. He stayed. He stayed. Where's the about page? Here he is. Anyway, here. Go to the blog. The new chapter for DTRVL. This is Eric Pace, the new CEO. He didn't jump ship. He stayed. He stayed. He stayed to face the criticism. He stayed to face the bad sentiment. He stayed to face the problems. And he was left with so much mess by the previous leadership. So much mess. So many problems. So many problems. And he's fighting. He's fighting. He's fighting. He's like working on this. I spoke to him yesterday. 100%. He's up at like 4 a.m. He's working all the way through to 12 p.m. at night. Yeah. To turn this around. This is no joke. You're not dealing with people who don't care. You're dealing with someone who really cares, who really is going to turn this around. And it's hard because if everything was going great, going well, we wouldn't need a new CEO, would we? Sometimes things have to collapse for the right people to come in. The true believers, the people who really have the strength, the courage, and the capability, the skills to turn it around. And I think that's what's happened in DTRVL. What's happened is that all the people, all the shit has gone. All the crap, all the chaff has been burnt away in this whole period of time. All the weak hands have left. All the people who really didn't care about DTRVL have gone. And now is our moment to rebuild from the ground up. But we don't have to throw everything away. We have a business, an application that works. And so that will be the foundation of the future. So what we have to do now, and this is what I'm doing, is supporting and getting behind the new leadership, the new CEO, and trusting in him. Because at the end of the day, what can I do? Am I going to sell? No, of course not. I don't care. I'm not going to sell. Whatever happens, I'd rather it go to zero than sell. Yeah, because look at where we are. If I wanted to sell, I should have sold at 9 cents. If I really wanted to, I should have sold at 9 cents. Okay. If I wasn't going to sell at 9 cents, why would I sell at 0.0015? It makes no sense. That's ridiculous. Why would you sell at 0.0015 if you're not looking to sell at 5 cents? Yeah, if anything, we're in a better situation now than we were at 9 cents. And 9 cents, you had a broken tokenomics, terrible leadership, and people who are completely delusional and disconnected from crypto. Yeah, you didn't sell. And here you have new leadership, people who are true believers, working their guts off, who've promised to turn this around and pour everything into it with a new vision, a new game plan, taking what works on the old and getting rid of everything else. And you want to sell? See the difference? And so is there any hope for this token? Maybe the charts in this chart, no, but maybe if we can change the chart, yes. And that's the only thing I'm going to be saying here. Maybe if we can change the chart, yes. Yeah. And that's not for me to announce. Okay. But there's a lot of things that are happening, and I think this is a real opportunity. And so one thing that I want to promise you is that early adopters, early investors won't be let down, because if they're let down, I'm let down. And that makes no sense either. Why would they let down the people who have stood by them all the way down to the 0.01507? Right? It's not going to happen. So this is the fight back, guys. We're about to make a pivot, and I tried to buy some today and the price moved like 10%, small amount. Price moved like 10% when I bought some. And so I just want to let you know that if you want to buy and not worry about the slippage, this is the right place, because the price can slip. If you buy now at 0.01502, if you try to buy like a few $100,000 TRVL, which isn't much, it's like a few $100s, you could end up buying all the way up to 0.016, 0017, 0018 because of the slippage, because we're at a very illiquid area of the price. Yeah, very illiquid. It's super illiquid here. So if you do want to buy, this is actually a good place to start picking up large amounts. Okay, and it's better to do it before things start to get announced and start to move again. Okay, and I think that's going to start happening next week, either this weekend or next week. You can start getting some big announcements, and then you'll be able to contribute and you'll be able to understand what's happening, and then you can decide what you want to do. Yeah, do you want to buy more and or do you want to just hodl, or do you want to wait? Then you have to make those decisions for yourself. None of this is financial advice. I'm just kind of letting you know. All right. Any other questions? Just comment on this video. GeoTips is saying D-Travel fundamentally good. Yes, fundamentally good. Business is doing good. Yeah, the business isn't profitable yet, but it's growing. There's growth, and the business model has changed. The old business model has changed. So as you can see right now, if you look at my profile, I've subscribed to the Pro plan, and that basically means that I'm paying a monthly fee for this listing. You don't have to. You can not pay, and you get some perks when you do that. And obviously I support D-Travel, so obviously I do that. I think there's a limit of the number of listings you can do that with. I'm not going to go into this right now, but so the business is growing, and as you can see on Telegram, if you go into the Telegram, you can see that we have new booking sites activated. We have people joining, new operator signups, and you can see the activity if you go up and have a look. New booking process, new booking site activated. So as people join, they don't have to pay anything, but if they want to, they can, and they'll start getting access to different perks and discounts, etc. So the business is not profitable yet, but we're starting to increase the revenue of the business. And what else? Yeah, new CEO. So this is the thing, that's the big deal. We have a new CEO. He didn't jump ship. If you go to my video last week, I talk about Eric and what he did, and he's gonna turn this around. I have 100% confidence in his passion, his desire, his capability, and his vision. 100% confident. And so I look at the chart and I'm saying, yeah, of course it's gone down, because what you're seeing is a failed vision of a previous idea, a previous team, a previous leadership. Honestly, no animosity to the past. Honestly, like, I know why this happened. The previous leadership was terrible. They were rubbish. They took no accountability for their actions. They made the wrong decisions. They didn't listen to the community. And all they wanted to do was rise in an alt season, which never came. That's all they want. That was their only plan. Their only plan was to rise up in an alt season that never came. Yeah. That's how good they were. They were rubbish. Okay. What we're seeing now is the end of their legacy. This is the end. This is the end of their era. Okay. So yeah, so of course it went down to however low it went down to, because that's what they did. The previous CEO, the previous leadership, the two co-founders, they left. They jumped ship. Can you believe it? The two co-founders jumped ship because their vision failed and they weren't willing to rise up to the challenge. They weren't willing to face or confront all the people like you and me, the investors who had put in so much time and energy and value to make this and belief into this project. And this is their legacy. Okay, now let's wait for the new legacy. The new legacy is just about to begin. It's about to be a rebirth of something. It's not going to be the same. It's not the D-Travel that you imagined is going to change. And we're going to take the foundation of D-Travel, which is the application, the business that works, and we're going to create something completely new. Eric's going to do that. He's going to do that, and he's going to tick all the boxes. All the boxes that you want will be ticked. I 100% believe that. 100% believe that. I know it's going to happen. And all of this happened for a reason. That's why there's no animosity. Like, I'm really glad that it happened in a sense, because as long as you didn't sell and make a loss, I'm really glad it happened, because I almost think like that old leadership was so bad they had to go. They really were terrible. And I think like if you, let's just say we didn't have this crash and the old leadership was there, maybe we would have gone up, and maybe it still would have done that. Yeah, but then it would be like we would be like way behind. Yeah, we needed to go. Like, it took so long to get rid of them, for them to leave, to change everything over, etc., etc. Like, there's a process in changing things around. You know, you can't just do it overnight. And then once you do kind of get rid of them and the new people come in and they start taking over, planning for the future, to change the business, to talk to the community, to listen to the community, to have conversation. I mean, that's a process. And so I almost feel like all of this had to happen, because when we do rise from this low, it's going to be really glorious. It's going to be a testament to the new leadership, because they will then have turned it around, and then all of our confidence and faith in them will be justified. Does that make sense? So I almost feel like it was meant to happen this way. But just wait, just be patient. If you want to buy some, just make sure, none of this is financial advice. If you want to buy some, see, we're getting some buying here, is it already? Can you see? That's like market buying. Obviously it's not enough to push through, but we're getting some buying here on the different, look at that, on gate. See that? How much volume was that? 1.8 million was bought in that 1 hour period, bought and sold. And see, the price went up and down 25%. That's how illiquid this area of the chart is. And like 1.5 million TRVL at these prices. How much is that? I'll tell you. On average, it's like $2,000 thereabouts, $2,500. So $2,500 worth of buying and selling has moved the price at these prices 26%. So we're at an extremely illiquid part of the chart, and this is actually a good. This is how you can accumulate large amounts. If people are looking now to accumulate large amounts of TRVL, this is the right place, the right time. We're on fib time. We're kind of at the right place. There's another chart I wanted to show you just quickly, and it's food for thought. Yeah, I don't want to like forget about technical analysis for a while. But this is the MEXC, no it isn't, that's the gate chart. Let's have a look at the MEXC chart. Let me find it. This one, this is the one I was looking at earlier. It was a fib extension from the all-time high to this all-time low. There, I've already drawn it out. See that? And so basically, what you're looking at, if you look at it in the monthly time frame, is this. I'll show you. How should I draw this? One, two, three. It might not be right. It might be to there. Yeah, that's probably more right. Fortunately. So we still haven't reached the 1-to-1, but on a different pivot we have. On this pivot we're at the 1-to-1. So I'm not sure if this is correct. If to there, to there, to there, you see that? That's the 1-to-1. But it may not be correct. And this is the thing with technical analysis, a bit tricky. If you do, let's just say that's your ABC. This is your ABC. And you have another one there. Then actually you're going much lower for a 1-to-1. So it's all speculation really. That will take us down to 0.01. Anyway, I think we're going to turn this around. We're at the right time, we're at the right place. Let's turn this around. All right, any questions, anything else? Someone's trying to call me. All right, I've gone on for too long. Hey, I'm going to be streaming again next Friday, and hopefully we're going to have a massive announcement. Let's see what happens, sir. Let's see what happens. Have a good weekend.